Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting and relationships through the lens of self-government. And in this video, I'm talking about 8 common tricks used by narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. I made a series of videos recently about narcissism, sociopaths, and psychopaths. And people started reaching out to me like crazy saying, Nicholeen, thank you so much for making those videos about narcissism because I've been wondering what I've been dealing with and I think that might be it. Or people saying, I didn't know that anyone was talking about narcissism and it's been something that has been plaguing my life for years. So I'm so glad that those videos were useful to people. I want to add a little bit to the discussion about narcissism, sociopaths, and psychopaths today because it is becoming an increasingly large problem that people are trending toward narcissistic behaviors. So what do narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths do to gain control of a situation? That's what I'd like to talk about today. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 8 common tricks that sociopaths, narcissists, and psychopaths might use on you and what you can do about it. As with everything related to self-government, it's all about analyzing and knowing what it is that you are seeing. So when a person learns self-mastery or self-government over themselves, they analyze themselves, make a plan for which way they need to head, and then they continue to analyze as they go along and course correct to keep themselves on the right track. Now, what happens if something is happening to you or you're in a situation where it seems like there are behaviors that are going on around you that are making life difficult? Well, step number 1 is the same. Analyze. Here's the problem. There's a lot of people who don't know what they're seeing. It's very hard to analyze and make a plan for what to do or how to solve a problem if you don't know what you're seeing. So in this video, it's my hope that I can help you understand what you might be seeing as it relates to narcissistic behavior. The first trick that a narcissist often uses is the victim. So they seem like or play like they are the victim to everybody else. So what does this look like? Well, it might look like the narcissist saying to their spouse, you never understand me. You never listen to me. No one gets it. I'm trying to explain something, but nobody gets it. Nobody understands. Well, that makes it seem like nobody really is paying attention to this poor person who's always misunderstood, when in reality, that might just be a guise. Or it could be a narcissistic child saying to their parent, I never get to do anything that anybody else does. All of my friends get to do all of these things, but you guys are so controlling and mean to me. Or maybe it's the narcissistic child tattling on the teacher who isn't even there and making it seem like the teacher is out to get them. Now here's the problem. Those types of situations could happen in a normal circumstance. So how does a person determine if this is narcissism or if this is not narcissism? Well, this victim card is going to be played a lot against many different people. When a narcissist plays the victim card, they are the victim of almost everyone. So keep that in mind. Very rarely will they ever take responsibility for anything that has happened to them. It is always going to be someone else's fault. Someone is always out to get them, and that's why they need your protection. I hope you noticed a little bit of my sarcasm there, them needing your protection, because that's what happens with this number 1 trick of becoming the victim, is they start getting everyone trying to protect them, as if that is even possible when it's all just made up drama. That's right, drama. The narcissist, sociopath, and psychopath, they all thrive on drama. So this brings me to common trick number 2, which is that nothing is wrong with them, everything is your fault. Remember that. When everything seems like it's your fault all the time and you're constantly trying to fix the problems on your end of it, and somehow the problems just don't seem to ever fix or get better fully, that's how you know that it might be a narcissistic trick. If they can keep making it seem like nothing's wrong with them, everything's wrong with you, then that keeps you guessing and trying and working so that you are serving them. That frees them up to do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want so long as it sounds like it's your fault. And when you are a person that is truly charitable and kind and you are caring about others, that is the perfect trick to use on you, because that means you're going to care a lot and you're going to try to make yourself a better person for them. Now, don't get confused here, because we should, each of us, try to be the best version of ourselves to help situations. In fact, if there's ever been a problem in my life, whether it's with my husband or with one of my children, maybe someone in my extended family, I actually tell myself, okay, Nicholeen, what is wrong with you? What can you fix about you so that you can better handle this situation? So that you can better love that person even if there's a flaw that you notice in them. But you see, there's a difference there. I'm saying to myself, okay, there's a problem here. What is wrong with me that I can fix with me first before I can help this other person with their problem? But the narcissist would say, the problem is with you. The problem is with you. So they keep dumping it back on you. That's very different than you looking in your own heart and trying to have the right condition of heart. There's nothing wrong with finding a problem with yourself, trying to fix it and problem solve your life. In fact, that's what an emotional healthy person does. The problem comes in when the narcissist is constantly dumping every problem on you and declaring it as your fault. I've got more common tricks coming up for you, but before I get to those, hit that subscribe button now. There's a lot of great content on this channel that relates not only to narcissism, but on you developing good behavior and helping to have good bonding and relationships with your family members. And don't forget that notification bell, hit that too, because you'll want to be notified when new exciting videos come out. Common trick that narcissists play, number 3. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is when a person tries to make you question whether you know what you think you really know. This is a very common trick. It's happened to me multiple times as I have worked on legislation to try to protect children and families. So there was a piece of legislation that I worked on a long time ago, trying to protect children in the public schools from databases that would exploit them, leading them toward trafficking websites and toward really graphic pornography. And people literally came to committee meetings in legislative session as I was exposing this problem, trying to come up with a bill that would protect children in my state. People came and said, well, she's just saying this one thing, but that's not really a problem. Trying to make it sound like I'm saying something's a problem that isn't really a problem. That's called gaslighting. What it usually looks like is you might say something to a person, you're trying to explain yourself to them. Maybe it's a boss who's kind of narcissistic or something. And you explain, this is what happened with this project. This is why we have this problem. We need to fix this problem, or it's your fault, boss, maybe in this little way or whatever. And what happens is that narcissistic person, that boss, only repeats back a tiny bit of what you said and then says, is that what you're really saying? Because that doesn't seem right to me. And so then you repeat yourself back again and say, no, this is the whole story. And they're like, but you're saying this one little piece. And that does not sound like a problem. So do you see, they make you think the problem is in your head and that they understood you just fine. But really, you're the only one who's seeing a problem there because nobody else could see the logic in your problem being a problem for everyone. That is classic gaslighting, and it happens all the time when you're dealing with narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. Trick number 4, smear campaigns. This is where they try to make you look bad. In fact, they set you up to look bad. We see this all the time on the news. Things will come out on the news stories about so-and-so did this. Just the other day, they said this off the record, and you wonder, did they? Is that the full thing that was said? What else do we not know? At least I hope you question that. I certainly question that. I never take stuff just at face value, especially when somebody's trying to throw dirt at somebody else, because I think to myself, this could just be a classic smear campaign. Well, people do it in relationships all the time. So let's think about what might happen, a usual smear campaign that could happen in a relationship. So let's say you have a file, you're at the office, you have a file and you're supposed to put it on somebody else's desk to share the file with them. You put that on their desk, and then later you notice it's not there. You ask them where it is, they say, I don't know where it is, and you look all over their desk, you check your desk, you check everywhere. You're panicking because you don't know where this file is. It's an important case file for your business, something that everybody's supposed to be working on. So then you get to a meeting and the person whose desk you put it on is holding the file, and they say, so-and-so was supposed to give me this file, but they didn't. I had to find it somewhere else. And all of a sudden they're making it seem like you didn't do your job by putting the file on their desk like you were supposed to. Although in your mind, you totally remember putting the file on their desk. So then you start to wonder, did I really not? Are they right? You're not sure how to back that up because you don't have a witness of putting it on the desk. And then you ask yourself, is there really any point in going back and forth in front of the whole board meeting, the he said, she said kind of a thing, and fighting over a file, or do we just move on? Well, we just move on usually because you don't want to waste the time. But at the end of the day, in everybody's mind, they're thinking, that person's irresponsible. That person is not somebody that you can depend upon. So they've smeared you. They've made you look less credible than them. So this gives them permission to get away with murder. And maybe blame it on you. Trick number 5 is flying monkeys. So you know the Wizard of Oz and how there's that wicked witch and she's got these flying monkeys that go do anything that she wants them to do. She says, go get me Dorothy and her mangy dog too. And they go and fly and they get Dorothy and they get all the people and they bring them to her. And it's like they have no voice. They don't say anything. They just, oh yes, I would be happy to help you, wicked person, right? Well, that's what happens when the narcissist gets their little minions. The minions don't necessarily know that the narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath is actually a wicked witch. In fact, for whatever reason, they trust the person, probably because of a smear campaign that was done before, or maybe some gaslighting that happened in their presence. So they think they can trust this other person that's a narcissist. So then the narcissist says, oh, can you do this for me? Or, oh, you need to prove this right now. The narcissist will have them proving that somehow you are not credible in whatever you've done or said. The person doesn't realize that they are actually in a narcissist's control at the time. They actually think they're helping. They think they're helping the person that is the most trustworthy, because that person has already set you up as someone they can't trust. So they've got to work against you to be on the right side of history, is how they feel. It is really sad for the flying monkeys, because after a while, they recognize, wait a second, what has happened to us? What has this wicked witch done to us? And is there any way that we can set this straight? Trick number 6 is the narcissistic offensive attack. So what a narcissist will do is they'll take one little thing that happens, it's maybe an inconvenience or maybe something that they didn't like, and they will blow it completely out of proportion. They will bring in the drama in heavy doses so that people think they have truly been hurt in some way. This is how they get the upper hand before you can ever expose that they have done anything to you. This makes it seem like if you were to say, hey, this person did this to me, that people would be like, whoa, you totally hurt that person. I mean, you had it coming, right? So they attack you before you can ever say that they've done anything wrong. And they do it with high drama. Common trick number 7. I'm getting better. Yes, the narcissist, sociopath, and psychopath likes to pretend that they're all of a sudden doing so much better because of you. This keeps you stringing along. And then when 2 days later, they're all of a sudden an emotional wreck again and everything's your fault again, you think to yourself, but they had a good day. They were doing good before, so it's gotta be okay. We'll get them through it. They're making progress. I can't give up on them now. I'm actually doing some good. They go back and forth, good days, bad days, and they do it to keep you stringing along so that they can maintain control over you. I know that seems totally sinister and nefarious, and it is. And I don't really know whether they know they're doing it or not, whether it's just a game that they get in the habit of playing, but regardless of why it's happening, it does happen, and it's super common. In fact, as I work with couples who are dealing with a narcissistic spouse or a narcissistic child, I see it again and again. This time of brief recovery where it seems like everything is working now that the family is trying to do to help that person, and then suddenly it's not. They're not really getting better. That's number 7. I'm getting better. Trick number 8 is very cunning because it plays heavily into your emotions. This is where they pour on the love. I love you so much, sweetie. Or I love you so much, child of mine. Or I love you so much. Or you're the best employee we've had. They really seem to pour on the affection. It's like they care more than anything else. But then they say, but you know what? If you can't make this simple change, I'm gonna have to leave you. It's the ultimatum based on something simple, it seems like, because they love you so, so much. It doesn't matter that they've gaslighted, that they've done narcissistic offensive attacks on you, that they've done all these things. Now, there's this one thing that if you could just give them money for this trip, or if you could just get them the new cell phone, or whatever it is, then they won't leave you. Then they won't run out and have the next destructive behavior that you are afraid that they're going to do and ruin their life and somebody else's life too. They hang your fear over your head and they do it with love. Oh, this one is hard to detect because it's so incredibly intrusive into your feelings and your emotions. It gets you wrapped in how much you care about them too, and you really wish the best for them. You want to think the best of them, and so oftentimes people just give in and say, okay, I don't want you to have that bad experience. And so you know what? The narcissist never gets help. The person who's being bullied by the narcissist, the target of the narcissist, never gets help, and it just keeps going and going because it's wrapped in this guise of love. The thing is love is real. Does the narcissist love the person? I don't know. Maybe. Usually a narcissist loves themselves the most, okay? That's what we know about narcissism, sociopaths, and psychopaths is it's all about them. They love themselves a ton, but that does not stop them from saying all the right words. This is difficult. So what can you do about it? Let's talk about that. If you feel like you are in a relationship with a person who's a possible narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath, It is really important to find time to distance yourself from that person and to be with somebody else who you don't feel like you are emotionally manipulated by. So, emotional manipulation to the level of narcissistic treatment from another person is actually psychological abuse. You should feel a relief in some way. If you've been being psychologically abused, you should feel a relief when you're with another person who is not a psychological abuser. Find a person that you can have regular connection to, who you can maybe tell things to, whether it's a family member or a friend or a therapist, somewhere you can tell the things that are going on so that you can recognize when the tricks are happening and so that you don't fall victim to those tricks. If the tricks don't work, I promise you the narcissist will try the next trick. That's what they do. They mix it up all the time to keep you guessing. But if you know some of the main tricks, and by the way, there are more than these common 8 that I've listed, but if you know the main tricks that they use, then you can probably keep yourself loving them, but not being psychologically abused by them. And if it all else fails, you might have to get away permanently from a person who truly is damaging you in some way. The thing that you should do, especially if you're the type of person who is a spiritual person like I am, is pray for discernment. I'm a praying person. I ask God for discernment when I'm working with people like troubled youth who've come to my home who have some of these tendencies. I've asked God, help me see what's not seen. I know that this is advice that maybe not everybody wants to take, but you've got to have some other eyes on it, right? And if you believe in God, go there too, as well as talking to your friend or whoever you can trust to help you in this circumstance. If you can't discern or analyze what's happening, it's going to keep happening. Once you find out that it is happening, make a list of the date it happens and what trick was used on you, how you handled it, and start making plans with that trusted person for how to handle it. If you have a hard time controlling yourself or knowing how to manage yourself, especially when someone else is trying to control you, I have the perfect thing for you. If you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, you will notice in the store that there is something that is called Dare to Take Command. It's an event that I did all about self-government for anybody. Sure, I teach parenting, but we have to parent ourselves. The skills that we use to parent children are actually useful for self-governing ourselves too. They're just principles and skills that can be used by anyone. And I have a special event that was designated just for adults to learn how to gain control of themselves. And it's called Dare to Take Command. Find that, listen to it, and if you need more help on making better thoughts in your head when a person is pushing the wrong types of thoughts at you, then also look up the other event that I did that's on there called The Value and Mastery of Emotions. Emotions are being played at you. You need to know how to analyze what's going on with those and what type of thoughts you need to have to make sure that you stay emotionally free instead of in emotional bondage. So go to teachingselfgovernment.com.